told you that dropping $50 billion on a single building is actually the ultimate cost-cutting measure?
I mean, it sounds totally counterintuitive, right?
It really does. But welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang's recent strategic roadmap from his all-in interview, and we're extracting where computing, labor, and the physical world are just colliding.
Yeah, because we are moving from basically just chatting with AI to deploying literal armies of digital workers.
Exactly. So we're going to get into the rise of the OpenClaw desktop agent, token spend economics, and why your next coworker might literally be a robot.
We're looking at a fundamental rewrite of the rules here. The focus is shifting entirely from, minimizing computing costs to maximizing human output.
Right, but I'm struggling with the math on this $50 billion AI factory Huang talked about, because spending that kind of money sounds like capital destruction, not savings. Where is the efficiency actually coming from?
Well, it really comes down to the thermodynamics and the fixed costs of a data center. Like, when you build one, the land, the outer shell, and the massive cooling systems cost a fortune.
Right, something like $20 billion just for the empty shell.
Exactly. So if you spend a massive premium to pack that exact same shell with top-tier, state-of-the-art chips, your upfront cost spikes to $50 billion. But
You get 10 times the processing throughput.
yeah, exactly. You drastically lower the cost of generating a single compute token, which is essentially a unit of AI thought or output.
So you're getting vastly more brain power per square foot, which leads directly into this idea of token spend economics.
Right, which is fascinating.
It is. Like, Huang expects a company paying a software engineer $500,000 a year to spend another $250,000 on compute tokens just for them.
It's a huge investment per employee.
But the analogy he used, right, it's like hiring a Michelin star chef and making them chop their own onions with a butter knife just to save on kitchen gadgets. You want to give your highest paid talent superhuman tools.
Because a knowledge worker who is heavily utilizing those tokens is suddenly doing the work of 10 people.
Yeah.
I mean, you are essentially renting digital assistants to augment that one person's talent.
And those assistants aren't just sitting in some distant cloud anymore, right? They're migrating directly to our local laptops through systems like OpenClaw.
Yeah, that's the big shift.
But I want to understand the mechanism here, because we aren't just talking about a glorified autocomplete, are we?
No, not at all. OpenClaw acts as a completely new operating system layer. It has its own working memory and reasoning skills.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, instead of just generating text, it performs tangible work. So if you ask it to analyze a market trend, it takes over. It figures out it needs to open a browser, scrape data, drop that into Excel, run formulas.
And then paste the chart into an email.
Exactly. It's like a ghost manipulating your mouse and keyboard, spawning these specialized sub-agents for each of those little mini tasks.
But wait, if we have agents banging on enterprise tools like Photoshop or Excel 100 times faster than a human ever could, doesn't that completely break the traditional software business model?
Oh, absolutely.
Because if a company charges a licensing fee per human seat, but an agent is doing the workload of 50 humans from just one computer, those revenues are gonna plummet.
They have to. The software industry just becomes a conduit. The value shifts from the software itself to the human who's directing the agent and
Yeah.
verifying the ground truth of the output.
So the software is really just the digital environment the agent operates within.
Exactly.
So what happens when these agents optimize all our digital tasks? It feels like the inevitable next step is they run out of software to conquer and get pushed out into the physical world.
That is exactly the trajectory. We're talking about physical AI addressing a $50 trillion heavy industry market.
50 trillion. That's insane.
It is. And we are looking at high-functioning humanoid robots hitting the market in just 3 to 5 years.
But building millions of physical robots relies on sprawling international supply chains, which instantly turns this into a massive geopolitical vulnerability, right?
Yeah, that's a huge concern.
Because we import physical components like motors, batteries, magnets. We've seen the U.S. lose the outsourced solar panel and rare earth mineral industries. How does Huang propose we avoid losing the robotics race the exact same way?
By controlling what he calls the sovereign stack.
Okay, what does that mean?
The strategy is to ensure the American AI tech stack, the underlying chips, the networking systems, and the platform software becomes the absolute global standard.
Oh, I see. So even if the physical chassis or the magnets are manufactured overseas, the brain and the operating system remain localized, standardized, and secure.
Precisely. You own the intelligence.
That makes sense. But look, it's easy to talk about productivity increases from a macroeconomic level. If I'm one of the 15 million Americans driving a truck or a cab for a living right now, I'm looking at this 3 to 5 year timeline in a panic.
Yeah, that's the immediate human cost.
One predicts chauffeurs will become mobility assistants who coordinate schedules while the car drives itself. But how does society actually bridge that displacement gap?
Well, historically, automation like autopilot in planes made the industry safer and eventually increased the overall demand for pilots. It grew the economic pie.
Right.
But you are pointing to the most critical friction point. The bridge between losing a driving job today and becoming an AI-assisted coordinator tomorrow, that's going to require massive societal adaptation.
Which brings us directly to you listening right now, because
Yeah.
the overwhelming consensus here is that you won't lose your job to AI.
Right. You'll lose it to someone using AI.
Exactly. The most critical skill you can develop today is learning how to architect a process and direct these agentic systems, guiding the outcome without micromanaging all the steps.
You're transitioning from being the laborer to being the manager of a digital workforce.
That is exactly it. And I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. If autonomous robots eventually allow us to build fully automated factories on the moon, effectively reducing the energy and environmental cost of moving heavy materials to zero, how will the concept of infinite resources fundamentally rewrite the rules of human economics entirely?
It's a wild thought.
It really is. Keep that in mind next time you open a blank document.